Good day, viewers. You're welcome to another edition of Usman English Class. This morning, we are going to continue from where we stopped in our previous edition on active and passive voice. If you could recollect, we already had 2 episodes of this topic. Now, today, we are moving on straight to the next episode of active and passive voice, which is going to be conversion of active sentences that are continuous to passive. Previously, we examined simple tense in terms of simple present tense and simple past tense, how we convert them. So today, we shall examine how we can convert continuous tenses to passive. But before we go, let's have a look at the following questions, please. You might pick up your pen and write down the following questions. Try to answer them on your own. They are: the first one, the boy kicked the ball. The boy kicked the ball. How do we change that one to passive? The second one, the driver drove the car. The driver drove the car. The next one, Dende broke the glass cup. Dende broke the glass cup. Another one, Bolanle eats bread every morning. Bolanle eats bread every morning. The fifth question, we have the girls. The girls play Scrabble every day. The girls play Scrabble every day. Do practice with those 5 questions and join us in this current episode, which is supposed to be conversion of continuous tense. When we were examining active and passive voice the first time, I said we work on the finite verbs that we have in the sentence that is given. Now, to identify the finite verb, we already examined that it is a verb that performs actively and the one that agrees in terms of number, gender, and time with the subject. So, these finite verbs could be simple tense, they could be continuous tense, they could be perfect tense, or they could be future tense. Out of them you can see form other derivatives like simple present, simple past, present continuous, past continuous, future in the simple, future present, future in the past, present perfect, past perfect, and so on and so forth. So, today, how do we convert a continuous tense from active to passive voice? That is what we are going to do today. We have the active form and we have the passive. How do we convert it? Do not forget, in our first episode, we said we identify continuous tense that shows what we are doing at the moment. We are not done with it, we are still in the process. But we identify it with the use of primary auxiliary plus a verb ing. I am writing a letter. I am writing. At the moment, I'm still writing. I am not done with the writing yet. Not that I have not started. I have started, but I have not completed it. I am still in the process. That is continuous or progressive tense. If you now have a continuous tense in the active, how do we convert it to passive? That is what we need to examine today. Now, to identify continuous tense, do not forget we said we are going to use primary auxiliaries. What are the primary auxiliaries that we examined then? We firstly talked of am. If you could remember, we talked of is. If you could remember, we talked of are. These three are present continuous markers. We now use these three plus a verb ing. Like we say, is singing. For instance, we say, Tolani is singing a song. Tolani is singing a song. We discovered that the final verb here is singing. This verb is used actively, telling us that it is Tolani that performs the action, not that something happens to Tolani. Tolani is the one that performs this action. Therefore, Tolani is our AS, active subject, while is singing happens to be our AV, active verb, and a song happens to be our active object. How do we convert this to passive? We are going to bring that to the other angle here. If we have this as the active, how do we arrive at the passive? Do not make a mistake. It is very simple. What you just need to do is to invite what is known as the passive continuous auxiliary. What is that passive continuous? Let's firstly have our auxiliaries again. We have is, we have are. These three, we now have to include our passive auxiliary. What is that passive continuous? That would be B-E-I-N-G. You bring in B-E-I-N-G plus the past participle, verb en. Meaning that once you are going to do the first magic, the magic is alternating the object and subject. Now, these are a O, bring it to the position of PS. Our PS will be a song. We now have our AS, which will be brought to the position of PO. So, a song. Don't forget, how many songs are we talking about? Only one. Used in the capacity of a third person, not as a first person. Therefore, you still repeat is. Is. When you've written that one, meaning that you take is, you now bring in your passive continuous, being. Then, go back to the lexical verb in the active. The lexical verb in the active will have to be converted to past participle, which is supposed to be verb en form of singing, and that is supposed to be S-U-N-G, sung. Therefore, the conversion for Tolani is singing a song will be a song is being sung by Tolani. A song is being sung by Tolani will have to be our passive form of Tolani is singing a song. Another one. Let's consider another example. We say, Demola is washing the dishes. Demola is washing the dishes. We have to convert this to passive. It is very simple. Bring your object to the position of its subject, which will be the dishes. Now, we use is here because Demola is subject. But because this one now happens to be the subject in the passive form, it has to command the verb that will come in the passive form as well to be the number, to have the same number. This is plural. Therefore, the verb that we're going to use here should also be plural. Now, which one of the three will be plural? We cannot say the dishes is And we cannot say the dishes am, but we can say the dishes are. Now say the dishes are, bring the passive marker, being, the dishes are being, then the lexical verb, washed. By in, by Demola. Simple as ABC. Please, let's take a look again. Let's take a look at it again. I said in our previous episode that not everything that we need to convert to passive will be the tree was cut, a song was sung. Not everything will be was. Not everything will be is. We have to consider the tense and the kind of tense that we have in the expression we are given. The kind of expression we are dealing with today is the expression that involves what we are doing at the moment that we have not completed. We are still in the process of doing it. Are we together? We are still in the process. I am teaching a class. I'm still in the process of teaching. The teaching has not ended. We are writing a note. A note is still being written. We are not done with the writing. We are still in the process. That is continuous. And when we now talk of continuous tense, we say we identify it with primary auxiliary verb and verb ing. The primary that we need, there are 5. The present ones are am, is, and are. While the past will soon be examined very soon. Now, you need verb ing. The base of the verb, add ing to it. Or if the base ends with a letter E, remove the letter E in the base and add ing. Write. Remove the E and write, add ing, making writing. I believe we are together now. That is where that's how we get here. Now, another thing that we said was this. You want to convert active continuous to passive. It is very simple. What you just bring in is being. B-E-I-N-G. We have it as am, is, are plus verb ing. Will now be plus. It will be equivalent to am, is, are plus being and verb en. Like today is singing a song. Today is singing a song. Change it to passive. We have a song is being sung by Tolani. Tolani is singing a song. We have to change to a song is being sung by Tolani. When we have the next one, Demola is washing the dishes. Is washing is our finite verb. Converting to passive, which will now be the dishes are being washed. The dishes are being washed by Demola. As simple as that. Let's consider the past continuous as well. For the past continuous now, we pay attention to one thing I said in our previous episode, that we need a time marker for you to indicate that it is past. You need to have a time marker. Now, when we have the active and we have the passive, now, what are the past continuous markers? We have was, if it is singular, and we have were, if it is plural. These two will be plus verb ing. Verb ing. The passive use the same logic as the previous one. It is very simple. We just say was and were plus being and plus verb en. As simple as that. As simple as that. You just say the suspect, the police. The police were interrogating the suspect when I entered. The police were interrogating the suspect when I entered. The subject there will be the police. The final verb there that we need to work on will be were interrogating. Who was being interrogated? The suspect. When? To indicate that it is actually past. When I entered. To convert this to passive, it is very simple. Initially, you firstly need to do away with the adjunct. Remove the adjunct. When I entered. Firstly, remove it before you do the next magic. What you need to master will be your art of converting the active verb to passive. Use your object now as the subject. Who happens to be the object that we need to bring to the subjective case? The police performs the action. What is the action? They were interrogating. Who was being interrogated? That will be the suspect. Therefore, the suspect will be the object. Bring the object first. Now say, the suspect. Hey, please, let's take a good look at this. The suspect, singular or plural. Do not be confused because the first final verb is plural, saying were. And I'll change this one to were as well. No, it is not like that. The verb must agree. Don't forget we said a final verb is a verb that agrees with a subject in terms of number, gender, and time. Now, we have to use a verb that agrees with this in terms of number. The number that we need here is one, singular entity. We need singular verb. Between these two, was and were, which one will be singular? Which is supposed to be was. We now say was. The suspect was. Bring in your passive marker. Being. The suspect was being. Now, what will be the past participle of interrogating? From the word interrogate. Interrogate. Interrogate as the base. Interrogating as present continuous. The past participle will be what? That will be interrogated. 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 The suspect was being interrogated by whom? Completed. By the police. Then you can now bring in your adjunct. What is the adjunct? When I entered. When I entered. So the conversion for the police were interrogating the suspect when I entered will be nothing but the suspect was being interrogated by the police when I entered. That would be our passive form of the question given. So I believe if we are following the trend of the class day after day, episodically, you will get to know that there is no magic there. It's just a little structure that we need to follow bit by bit. Let's consider the following questions as well. Please, as usual, you might need to pick up your pen and write down the following questions. Now, the first question that we want to take note of, I want us to take note of is this. The girls are dancing. Is that even worthy of being converted to passive? You might need to think of that. The girls are dancing. If you take a good look at it, you can see that that sentence is not a one that is not a type that you can convert from active to passive, because the final verb used there is not a transitive. All the verbs we've been dealing with, they are transitive verbs. But the verb dancing, is not a transitive verb. So if you come across that kind of a question, do not give yourself any headache. It cannot be converted to a passive because dancing is not a transitive verb. It's an intransitive verb. Another one. They are you writing? They are mimicking the hymn. They are mimicking the hymn. We can convert that one to passive. I believe you can do that. They are mimicking the hymn. I don't know how you want to do that, but it is very simple. You can convert it to passive. Please work on that. That is number one. Another one I want us to take note of right now before we move on is the boys were kicking the balls. The boys were kicking the ball when we saw them. The boys were kicking the ball when we saw them. You can convert that one as well to passive.